Okay, hello. Laura Trotter here, and welcome to EcoChat Live for December 2015, the last one for the year. So I'm just going to be flicking. I don't know if I need to flick just to double check who's in the room and if you can hear me okay. Now, I can see that my volume's working, but there's a little bit of webinar housekeeping. There's a little delay between when I talk and when you hear me. So it's around about 30 seconds. So if you're typing a question or popping something into the chat group there, and there's just a delay between when I respond, you just know that that's the case there. So it's about 30 seconds. So I'm not ignoring you at all. That's just how it goes. Now, I have been really busy lately. I'm not too sure how many of you are on my email list today, but you'll see that my beloved Sustainer Baby, I'm packing that up at the moment and getting it ready to move to its lovely new owner just before Christmas. So that's taking up a bit of time and just all the usual household things and busy pre-Christmas tasks at this time of year. So I haven't actually promoted this much. So we do have quite a few people registered, but it's probably going to be a fairly intimate group. So that's totally okay. Everyone's probably a little bit busy and crazy too, so we'll jump on board and watch the replay. So I am going to keep it short and sweet, really trying to keep it under 30 minutes tonight. And I am going to be talking about how to enjoy a green Christmas. All right, so let's dive in. If you can, just type in the chat group that you can hear me, and that would be great. Alrighty, so how to enjoy a green Christmas. So tonight, as I said, I'm going to keep it fairly short and sweet, but what I'm going to talk about is really just some of the waste that generate around about this time of year and how much bigger it is than normal, and just talk about the silly season in generally. We'll be talking about how to eco-fire your Christmas dinner, how to eco-fire your presents, including 3 alternatives to using single-use wrap. I'll touch on how to eco-fire your decorations as well. Okay, so basically, sorry, I'll just check my notes there. Yeah. If you are fairly new to me and haven't followed, I guess, myself for a long time, obviously I'm Laura Trotter. I'm an environmental engineer, and I've been living and breathing sustainability for well over 20 years now. I started studying environmental engineering when I was 17, straight out of school at RMIT University in Melbourne. It was a fairly new course then. Not many people were the year I went in was a year of the first graduates pretty much in Australia of environmental engineering. So it was the mid-90s. And loved it. Live and breathe environmental. So this is actually me as a 21-year-old in my first graduate job down in Hobart on the banks of the Derwent River, monitoring dust quality around a zinc smelter. So I as I've said, I graduated and I moved down to Tassie originally, working in a large zinc smelter, and then I was transferred up to northwest Queensland, where I worked for 4 years at a very large zinc and lead mine, the second largest in the world, and it also had a very long pipeline where it would pipe the slurry up to a port facility in the Gulf of Carpentaria and and then shipping. So as an environmental professional there, I helped really monitor the mine and make sure that we abided by all the regulations and exceeded them, working a lot with Aboriginal communities and making sure that they understood the impact of the mine and got them involved in monitoring it as well. And also went up to the port and basically tripped around northwest Queensland a lot in the environment, doing a lot of sampling and talking with people. It was great. It was a lot of hard work, long hours. I'd work 14 days straight and fly back to Townsville on my days off to sleep. And basically while I was there, I was studying a Master's of Science in Environmental Chemistry, just really learning a lot about how a lot of metals in particular react in the environment in creeks and streams, but namely from waste rock dump that was at the mine, but really was a bit of a chemistry nerd. And I graduated from that while I was working full time, so it was a bit crazy. That was in my late 20s. And while I was working in Queensland too, I met my future husband. But he was working in Tassie at the time, and it was very long distance over Australia. And we decided to try and live and work in the same place. So we moved to Roxby Downs in South Australia, where we have been now for 11 years. So we both took some senior positions at the mine and smelter and everything here. And I worked there for 5 years as a senior environmental engineer, but also in the capacity of business improvement. And I learned a few things about making the business, the very largest industrial site in Australia a little bit more efficient. But mostly working in the environmental area. So around about 2009, we had our first child, and I figured that minerals industry and motherhood didn't really match. So I was looking, as an environmentalist, looking for eco-friendly products for my new baby, and they weren't really around, or they weren't in the same place, in the one place. So at that stage, I set up my first online eco business, Sustain a Baby, that I could work and introduce eco-parenting to a lot of new mums, and at the same time looking after my family. And then over the years, I guess a lot of people have always asked me how I've done a lot of things, and I've started to just move back to my passions a bit more in the education space. And I've got a couple of e-courses that I run, Home Detox Bootcamp and Greenhouse. And that's really where I'm really happy, just guiding and educating people on how to live a more cleaner, greener and sustainable life. And that's why we're here tonight, because we're talking about how to have a green Christmas. So that's me, that last photo there, me, my husband and my two boys, Matthew and Christopher, who are now 6 and 3. Okay, so back on, that's enough about me. I've still Sustain a Baby. That first business is about to move to and its first, I guess, owner apart from me, and I'll just still be maintaining the education at lauratrotter.com, which you obviously follow anyway. So how wasteful are we at Christmas? So this time of year, the silly season, it really stretches. It depends where you are. Where I live, because it's so hot over summer, the town becomes a ghost town from the start of really early December. So if I went down the street tomorrow, there's hardly anyone around, hardly any cars. You can always get a car park. I guess the supermarket stocks on the shelves just dwindle because they stop stocking stuff. And just things like that. Everyone just deserts for this long summer break for 2 months, mainly because the temperatures are so disgustingly hot. So last weekend was 46 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. So Christmas silly season for us starts in October, because everyone's crammed in October, November, and then you go away and see family. So it stretches them to December as well. So silly season can typically be about 3 months. But everywhere else, it's pretty much, mid-November, early November through to early January. So the season to be jolly really is a far contrast from the season to be green. We buy more, we eat more, and we travel more. And some later statistics, I think from Planet Ark, they're saying that local councils experience about a 30% rise in the municipal waste that households are producing in December and January. So our waste goes up by 30%, which is an awful lot. So, that really comes from, Christmas and excess going hand in hand, and oversupply of food and drink and stacks of presents if we've got kids. We buy more, eat more, travel more, and now I said a typically 30% increase. But that needn't be the case. You can enjoy the festive season without the wasteful trimmings and without being a party pooper. So often it's just a little extra preparation and thinking outside the box. That's all that's needed for a sustainable Christmas. So I'm just going to go through the 3 main areas of Christmas consumption tonight. So food, gifts and decorations. And I'm just going to share some tips to get you started. And of course, we can have a bit of a chat, or you can ask some questions. I'm just running this webinar on one screen tonight, so I have to flick back to another screen to see the chat box, which is a little bit annoying for me. And I hope it doesn't jump your screen around too much. I don't think it does. But if I don't answer your question or comment straight away, that's just because I'm not flicking constantly through the screen. But I will just check now to see if there's any comments already. And no questions yet. Cool. All right, let's keep going. All right, so ecofying your Christmas dinner. There's a few points here. Basically, what I've experienced with Christmas and Christmas with my own family and Christmas with my friends is that there's a lot of expectations and a lot of traditions, and Christmas it's a cultural time, and often we do things because that's always been the way that they've done, or the way that it's been done in our family. But I'm just going to challenge you that if your Christmas dinner is too much food and a lot of food and a lot of waste. And maybe you've got a ham, a turkey, a chicken, and some roast pork or something like that. Do you really need all that? Do you need to have a big traditional dinner with all the trimmings? Question that. Maybe you could have some vegetarian dishes. Maybe you could have some salads and cold meat, or just have a simple picnic. It doesn't have to be the extravaganza that you've grown up on. So, and often, to be really frank, the most enjoyable Christmases I've had are the simple ones that we've just, and it's been more in recent years when, my sisters and I got kids and we're tired and we just don't want the stress. We've really pushed for a simple one, and it's been so much more enjoyable because of that. And we haven't stuffed our faces in or had to have a nap afterwards. So you just question if you need the traditional fare. If you are a seafood lover, really just do a bit of research and choose sustainable seafood varieties. So many of the world's fish supplies are overfished and really dwindling, and at crisis point too. So I know I live in South Australia at the moment. I just heard on the radio today. So salmon is, or snapper, sorry, not salmon. Snapper is the one that's they're really recommending people not to eat this time of year, and rather to eat whiting or even a King George whiting. So just talk to your fishmonger or whatever if you really do love your seafood, and go for the sustainable varieties, not the deep sea ones which are dreaded, or just skip it altogether. It's like our oceans really are struggling. Go for whole foods, just fruit and vegetables. Really try and steer it. I mean, this is just general life stuff. Just try and stick away from the packaged and the processed ones. I notice a lot of those Christmas hamper saving things where you put money aside every year and you get your hamper at the end of the year. It's just full of processed foods, biscuits and chocolates and things like that. It's not good for your waistline, and it's not good for your wallet either. So just stick to and it's definitely not good for our environment. So stick for fruits and vegetables and yeah, whole foods. Meal planning and shopping to plan. This just comes down to running a general eco kitchen and making sure you're planning how many people you've got, how much food you need to cook, and not cooking twice or three times as much and over catering. If you do over cater, send people home with some food as well, or you can get really handy at turning it into other meals. So like a Christmas ham, mushroom and ham risotto, or quiches are really, really great for leftover ham and things like that. And turkey's great in risottos, like a turkey roast vegetable and frittata risotto. And if you are enjoying a beverage, there's so many great varieties of organic wine or beer, and even spirits at the moment that are out and about. Cool. Moving on to presents. The saying to give your presents and not presents is really, really good food for thought in our modern fast-paced world. So really try and just prioritize spending time and being fully present with those you love this Christmas, and any physical gift will pale into insignificance, especially the elderly, and especially kids too. One of my friends was just telling me yesterday, I think it's a new IKEA ad she was saying. I haven't actually seen it, but she was talking about this IKEA ad that's just been released, and it's about I guess people doing the ad. They ask, what would you like from Santa? And then they rattle off all the latest presents. If you ask my kids, they're into Octonauts. So they say, I want the Gup A, the Gup B, the Gup C, Tweak's Octomax suit, the Octolab, and the Octopod, that sort of thing. But then they ask the kids, what would you like from your parents? And it's all like, I'd like mum and dad to take the day off work, or I'd like to go fishing with dad, or I just want them to play with me all day. It's just all about spending time. So particularly the elderly and the young, but even your partner, spending some time together, or gifting an experience that you can spend some time together. So I know this Christmas my mum has given me tickets to a musical. We're actually going to see The Seekers on Christmas Eve, and we hardly see each other. We live 1,500 kilometres apart. We only see each other once a year or so. So it's a really special time. So to get and go out and have this experience together. There's not a physical gift or anything like that. We're seeing a concert and spending some time together. It's going to be fantastic. And also, if you are buying physical gifts, just at this day and age, it's not rude to ask a person what they want, or it's not even rude to drop hints about what you want anymore. Gone are the days where, you just buy people stuff and just a bit of a fluke whether they want it or not. Just just ask, and it saves a lot of waste that way as well. If you're giving toys, really try and prioritize ones without batteries, or even give a recharger with the toy. So they're buying recycled batteries and being able to recharge them. And homemade gifts are always a treat too. So this is one that I do a lot, particularly for friends and teachers and carers and, anyone like that. Like if the next door neighbour pops in with something, or people that have just gone out of the way to help me during the year. So I make preserves during the year. So I might just jar up my last week. The teacher's got some sweet chili sauce that I'd made in quite a month. I think I'd made that in July. And other year, like last year, I made cranberry sauce and things like that. So homemade gifts are great, particularly if you're into crafts and cooking preserves and things, and you can do it in advance and you don't have to leave it to December. It just takes the stress out of late November. Okay, so moving right on, we're halfway through now. So eco-fying your presents. I told you that I'd share some 3 alternatives to gift wrap, and there are more, but these are 3 of my favorites at Christmas time. So one is just reusing those bags. So you don't have to wrap every present. You can just get those gift bags and just keep reusing them at each event. And it doesn't have to be a Christmassy one. Even if you just get a red one, you can use it for Valentine's Day and a birthday and everything like that. Child's paintings. There's only so many kindergarten paintings you can keep. So I basically just keep my favourites, which might just be a handful per child, and the rest go in a pile, and I use them for gift wrap throughout the year. And especially relatives, they love it. It's a nice personal gift wrap that their nephew or grandson or something's drawn. Another one is a Christmas pillowcase. We grew up, and this was my mum, we had Santa sacks, and it was a Christmas pillowcase. So we'd lie out our pillowcase on Christmas Eve, and in the morning there'd be presents inside, and it was our Santa sack. And I just assumed that everyone had that, but no, that's not the case. I know in a lot of families, the Santa that visits their house brings presents all wrapped up basically. So I'm just saying, yeah, you don't need all that wrap. Just grab a Christmas pillowcase and try out a Santa sack. It's really cool. It's great too because your kids can just keep all their presents in one place. So there's no getting presents mixed up or missing them. Unless, of course, you're giving Lego and little bits are falling off everywhere. All right, so last point on the way on greenifying or ecofying your Christmas, we're going to talk about decorations. There is something special and exciting about decorating our homes at Christmas time, particularly the tree lights blinking through the window and the wreaths on the doors, and just even the full-blown Christmas lights over the roof. They do really look spectacular. But you don't have to go all out, but at the same time, you don't have to have the blandest, boringest house on the street to be greener this Christmas. It's really about making better choices and opting for quality decorations that you can use year in, year out. So have a go at making your own. So make your own Christmas wreath. Try some bunting instead of streamers and tinsel and everything lying around. It's a nice felt bunting that you can pull out year after year. You can get some fabulous ideas from Pinterest, although browsing through Pinterest can also get your guilts up too if you're not that crafty or going that much out. But yeah, some great ideas there. I like to make my own Christmas bonbons. So I've made them out of Christmas fabric like serviettes, and I fill them with some nice organic chocolates and little nail files and just things like that, little handy things, not those crappy jokes and plastic toys and hats that split on my husband's head and my mum's head and everything like that. So eco-friendly bonbons are great too. We spoke about bunting. If you are putting lights all over your house and in your garden and your house and your tree and things like that, you've got 2 options really to greenify it a little bit. So the solar powered lights or LEDs, they're really, really energy efficient. They will cost you more when you're buying them up front, but they will last a lot longer and cost you hardly anything. They really don't use much energy to run. And Christmas trees, I get asked what are the best eco Christmas trees all the time, and is a plastic one more sustainable than a live Christmas tree? The ones that I recommend are basically buying a live Christmas tree in a pot that you can enjoy time and time again. And another alternative, there's actually businesses out there now that hire Christmas trees. So you can just hire a Christmas tree for a couple of weeks and they'll deliver it to you and then take it back as well. They don't service the area where I live, but I know if you're living in capital cities, for example, they definitely do. Pardon me. Okay, so that's pretty much it for tonight. I'll take your questions in a minute, but if you are keen to learn more about how to eco-fi your Christmas, I've got a brand new, really simple e-guide out at the moment with nice pictures and graphics and all my top tips for how to enjoy an eco Christmas. And it's just called Seasons Greenings. And you can just get that at lauratrotter.com/green Christmas. So just go to that website, part of the website now, and you just enter your email address and it'll get emailed to you in a flash, basically, and you'll have your nice little, your green Christmas guide on hand. But another key that I do want to say is that we don't just want to be green at Christmas time. We want to be green all year round. And it really isn't an all or nothing thing. It's about just the way we live. It's like healthy eating. It's not a diet and you go all in and then all of a sudden you've got a green home or an eco home, and then you just pull off the brakes and go back to how you were before and then slip back into old habits. It's really about just making smaller steps over time towards a sustainable life. So if you really want to get some more tips on how you can live a bit more eco all year round, I've got another e-guide, one of my popular e-guides here, just Think Global, Act Local. And that's got 101 small things you can do to help the environment. So just, you can get that there. It's only $15. So lauratrotter.com/Think Global, Act Local. And in that, I also go into a little bit more depth and cover the 7 biggest environmental issues facing the globe, and a lot of little things you can do to help. It's not about being overwhelmed and, we'll just leave it up to the governments. You can actually just do these little things, but it's not just doing that to help. By doing these little actions and making these small tweaks in your own home, you'll save a lot of cash, you'll improve your health, and you'll have a lot more freedom. You won't be relying so much on your supermarket and all that sort of stuff. And plus, you'll start feeling good and have a little bit of pride that you are tackling some of the biggest issues of our generation, like climate change. So you can pick that up there. It's just $15. And that's pretty much it for tonight. So that was how to enjoy a green Christmas. And you can also just check out the Christmas section of lauratrotter.com if you'd like some more ideas. And yeah, just when navigating your way through the silly season, just really try to remember that less is definitely more. Cut out the excess, you'll reduce the stress, and you'll enjoy the silly season without green guilt. And yeah, just make it a little bit more simple and you should have a lot more fun. Save some cash and maybe not put on those 3 to 5 kilos that a lot of people do this time of year. Cool. So if you've got any questions or comments, that would be great. I know we just had a small group tonight. And that's good. No questions, just some comments. Yep, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, Sarah. Great. Okay. Well, have a great Christmas, everyone, and a fabulous new year. And I'll be back with heaps of new products and ideas and yeah, in 2016. But I'm going to have a couple of weeks break catching up with my mum and my sisters and everything in Victoria because I haven't seen them for so long. It's going to be lovely. Okay, thanks a lot. See you later.